Hi everyone, it's Drew from Drew's Adventures, and today I'm joined by Come Hither with Heather. Heather?
Hello.
From Come Hither with Heather, and Werner from Werner's Adventures. So today we're exploring a rehab facility that used to run up until about 3 or 4 years ago, I believe. And we're just going to have a look around here and show you some of what we find. Let's do it. This was how the Strathmont Training Centre was reported by the Canberra Times of Thursday, the 21st of January 1971. The Strathmont Training Centre, a $6.6 million model village on a 115-acre site in a North Adelaide suburb, is due to open this month. Already, some people are referring to it as the most exciting and revolutionary project of its type in the Southern Hemisphere. No ward-like hospital this, but a collection of 17 villas, each containing 4 home units, surrounded by courtyards and lawns, and with a library, swimming pool and meeting hall. The whole thing looks more like a high-class holiday hotel than a centre where mentally retarded people will begin training for self-reliant citizenship. So, just what went wrong for the Strathmont Centre? Well, in March 27, 2011, the Sunday Mail reported that South Australia's most vulnerable people are being neglected in a rundown institution just metres from a well-kept prison yard. This is the neglected, shabby institution where South Australia houses 66 of its most vulnerable citizens, adults with intellectual disabilities. Just 300 metres away, inmates in Adelaide Women's Prison live in neatly maintained cottages with lattice fences, gardens and pot plants. In contrast, the Strathmont Centre, Oakden, is a wasteland of dead trees, broken seating, exposed concrete slabs and unfriendly roller shutters. Dignity for Disability MP Kelly Vincent says its vulnerable residents, the last to be rehoused in community housing, have been left there to rot. It's deplorable. The buildings themselves are dilapidated, very uncomfortable, and not at all the sort of home that anyone would wish to live in, she said. So that's basically what happened to the Strathmont Centre. There were also serious allegations of abuse and neglect in a general sense occurring in this facility. And that's what pressed the South Australian state government to close the Strathmont Centre when its final resident moved out. Let's have a look now at what's left of the Strathmont Centre. Here is the former sort of office there, and now we're having a look at one of the living units. And there's about 4 of these that are fully abandoned, of course. We've got a bit of Nesquik there on the table for those who love their milk drinks, flavoured milk drinks. Strawberry Nesquik. And you can see that very 1970s decor, kitchen style. The old lolly jar. And taking a look here at the very small living area, dining area of this little unit. And there's the little bedroom. They must have been Eagles supporters. Got quite a lot of stickers on there. And very late 90s, early 2000s, the Rights at Work sticker back there. Now we're looking inside the admin building. This is 3 stories high, this particular building in the complex. Quite in a bad shape, as you can see. Little look at the gardens, which, as I said earlier, were considered to be groundbreaking at the time. The old A-phone intercom system. This was really cool. Werner and I found this little goods lift, and Werner was brave enough to hop inside it. Little admin office there, and going up the stairs to the next level. That's actually a fire hose reel, that there on the ground. And these kinds of staircases were everywhere, I remember, as a kid. Someone's put, "It's not safe here." They had a lot of these posters around the place, talking about how intellectual disability is not a barrier in life. So there was a few of these about the place. Another one there, I think, about getting people with disabilities out in the workplace, having a look through the old air conditioning surround. It's me walking through the hallway there inside the admin building. Old timestamp there. And the old fire system there. Dead to the world, that one. Now we're having a look at where the deliveries and the workshops section of Strathmont Centre was. There's Heather in front of me there. And this is where we got spooked a bit, because we had someone, a couple of fellas out the back behind that roller door, and they were decommissioning a couple of light poles that were left behind. Big freezer room there, fridge room. And we were wondering what we were hearing, because they were cutting up the bits of metal at the very back. There we go. Archiving in the end was what that room was used for, but it would have been a cold store room, I suppose, when the facility first opened, because it's set out like a fridge, and it has the fridge fans up the top there, the compressor. And yeah, did a bit of a wander through this section. Unfortunately, the whole building in a general sense is really dilapidated, and just bits fallen apart, either by vandals or by whoever wants to come in. And of course, there's our very common graffiti that we see in a lot of places we go to. This graffiti just seems the norm. When you go to an abandoned building, you draw one of those on something. And the air conditioning controls. Someone's obviously drawn on that. As you can see, quite a lot of this is really been pulled apart, but there is some evidence of the old kitchen facilities there. And bits of doors and notice boards and all sorts left around the place. Now this was really cool. This little bit here is, I think it must have been like a communal sort of dining hall, entertainment zone. It's like a little garden bit in the middle, if I'm remembering correctly. And have a look at the roof, everyone. There's a disco ball. That was really, really cool. I wish someone could have saved it, but given it to another home, but yeah. Old duress alarm details there. This here seemed to be a mechanical workshop of some sort. You've got the mechanics pit there. Here was where, when I visited the decommissioned facility, there was actually a fuel tank there, like a fuel bowser. So that's been taken out since, but yeah. Information there about safety and different fire extinguishers and chemical storages. And this was all the workshop zone here. Random bike helmet we found. And of course you got your nangs. This area here was really cool, this little room. And Werner and I had a look here at a lot of the building plans. They had a heap of maps and plans all set out with different writing on them about what was what and where. It's really, really cool actually. Heaps of these drawings, architectural drawings in this little room, little office, the back of this building workshop. It's really, really neat. Now this is the start of the Cooinda Building, or Cooinda, I don't know how you'd want to say that, but Cooinda will do. Looked like it was like an activities hall, perhaps crafts and arts and things like that were done in here. Certainly kitchen facilities as well in this section. There's some of the artwork that might have been done by residents, I reckon. As you can see, it's all been boarded up, but the old curtains are still there. Really, what would you call it? Sort of garish kind of architecture nowadays. This was really cool. There's a couple of cockatoos there on the wall. They were handmade and crafted. The old little timestamp box. I thought this was really cool. So you'd clock in with that and clock out, and it's still stuck on 11:22. Old switches there. I have never seen switches like that for a long time. Now this section here is the theatre, and I think it also doubled as a bit of a cinema for the residents. And at one stage this whole facility had 600 people in it when it first opened. Very uncomfortable looking seats though, I've got to say. These look like rocks to sit on. No padding in them at all. There's a few other urbexes there that have visited the site. We've got gyms and a number of people there. I really liked this. It was just like this dust had settled on these chairs, and who knows how long they hadn't been sat in. Looking up now at the stage area, and those big rails that you see, they are actually what the curtains would have been on for the theatre curtains staging area. This is when Werner and I went up to the top section of the theatre. So this section up here appeared to be projectionist rooms in one section, and a kind of balcony for the theatre. There's Werner there from Werner's Adventures. I'll leave his link and Heather's link in the description part of this video. And there's Heather. And here's our little projectionist windows here. So they would have had a number of projectionist machines and those little windows were what the lenses popped through and then projected out. Here's your little curtain and house light section there, up, down, preset, and your old light globes for the projection machines. This here is the chapel. So we come around to the chapel. It had these beautiful mosaic tiled doors, and this section here, this little part that we're looking at right now, is the former chapel bells, I believe, or bell. There is a bell up inside it still, but you had to get up on that desk and climb up there, which none of us were game enough to do, because I think a lot of it's probably rusted away. Safety first. Now this was interesting here. There's a little handwritten thing, and it talks about His Royal Highness Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, opened this one 24th of March, I think it said, 1971. So they just have a little handwritten note there. And yeah, the church is dedicated something or other. The Lord is my shepherd, I think. So a little tiny church there that the residents would have once attended if they wanted. There's Heather here in front of me. We wander in to the little chapel / church. Very small. It looks bigger than what it actually was. On the ground here, this is really, really cool. Found these, like, I think they're called prayer chains. And the residents had put various little messages on them at the time, or their family members might have as well. Things like, praying for a job, hoping for better health and well-being for friends and family. Really quite touching. Just sad that it's all left behind. And that little circular thing just next to the prayer chain is a little modern fluorescent bulb. So yeah, there's a little prayer thing on the ground there, remember me, and I think you could probably colour it in if you wanted to. I'm thankful for my friends, I think it says. So yeah, very, very touching place actually, given the very negative history that the Strathmont Centre became known for. I'm sure in its early days it was pioneering. It was, what people thought people with intellectual disabilities would want to live in, but obviously now we've transitioned out of that, keep them away from the public kind of model, and the residents now that would have lived here are obviously now in their own homes, with supervised care, I suppose would be the word, I don't really know. Here is the section which has the recreation facilities, so some sort of little office there. There was this little like hands wall up on the wall, so I don't know who put that together, but it was really neat. Little forecourt, and this is where you've got the pool facilities and little basketball court coming up shortly. And beautiful murals. I think that's supposed to represent sort of Australian beach culture. Fire extinguishers were everywhere, as you can see throughout the video. Heaps and heaps of fire extinguishers. There you go, Community Inclusion Team, or also known as Commit, must have been in that section there. There's a lot of graffiti in this little section, but it didn't look bad. I mean, it wasn't sort of, gang tags or something like that. Very, very 1970s, 80s style signage, isn't it? Here we go. Lots of broken glass around, unfortunately. So you would have come in here and you would have been able to order a drink, perhaps buy swimming goggles and swimming clothing. Not too sure, but yeah, maybe hire towels. There's the fridge there where you could have got your drinks. Here's the really, really cool basketball court, and I think it's a multi-purpose court because you can see lines for other sports too. And there's your middle circle. And yeah, Heather and Werner both had a shot at trying to sink that little orange floaty buoy. They tried to get a shot in the hoop, but all of us couldn't get the shot. Yeah, there it is. That's the little buoy. Did I give it a go? I think I might have actually. Can't remember. Let's see. Did I throw it up? I did. Here we go. And I missed my shot too. There were no balls, proper balls left behind, so yeah. Around the edge of this gym / basketball court / multi-purpose court, they had a lot of these different posters of sporting achievers, and that must have been some form of device there for pulling the ring back if you wanted to use that court for another purpose other than basketball. Really love the roofing though inside this multi-purpose court. Beautiful wooden panels on the roof. Now, here is our very interesting swimming pool, and it was actually the last facility in the entire Strathmont Centre to close because it was actually used by a lot of community groups and various swimming clubs even after Strathmont Centre itself closed for the most part. A lot of signs there about diarrhea and colds and flu and all sorts of things that you wouldn't want in your water for your swimming pool. Here's the actual pool here. It's the shallow end, railing down to it. And yeah, if you look up the Strathmont Centre pool, you will find pictures online of what it looked like when it still had water. So your shallow end was 0.8 of a metre. I'm sorry to the US friends, I don't know what that is in feet. Your middle of your rails, get in and out of the pool. This was really cool. They had this on the wall, and I think it's different levels of swimming. So if you got to dolphin, then you could aim for stingray, then you could aim for shark. Yeah. First aid kit there, empty box. The old privacy curtain, I think there. Various notices. Now this is where poor Heather went for her tumble. I'll let the video explain that for you all.
Certainly now spiders are loving this now. The old pool gutters. More of your Speedo flags there. This here, steps. Here's where the pool gets deeper. portico. Material data safety hazard. Right, got the chlorine information sheet. There. Oh! Oh! Uh-oh. Hang on. So Heather here has just landed in a hole, and she just about went down into the bloody dungeon of the pool, and we don't know. She's okay, but she's a bit shaken up. Very lucky she didn't break a leg or something, because these holes are enormous. There's one of them down there. Yeah.
And you know, the funny thing was, I tripped in one hole because I was avoiding another.
Oh no, yeah. So she thought there was only one hole, but there was a second one just waiting to devour it. Yeah. So she's okay. She's in one piece, but boy.
I am in one piece.
My goodness, yeah. It was a bit of a shock.
Yes.
Shock to the system. So this here now was where like a medical office was. It appeared to have full X-ray facility and nitrous oxide, I think it is, an oxygen tank system in there, the old spirometer for blood pressure readings, that kind of thing. And there was still paper towel in there. There's quite a lot of stuff left behind in terms of the general look at it. There you go. That there was had a lot of PowerPoints on it. I reckon about 6 or 7 PowerPoints, and it had the meter, as you'll see in a sec. There you go. So you could hook up your oxygen and your nitrous oxide, the N2O. Little courtyard there at the back of the nurse's clinic, medical clinic. X-ray, viewer. Yeah, just thought that was a really interesting shot, that just there now. The glass everywhere. This is the old car park for the staff. So there was still some evidence in that car park of the signs, for example, like medical doctor or chief director kind of reserve park signs. And there's a look at the chapel and the library buildings there with the chapel bell tower. Very 1970s, 80s kind of style to it all. Somewhat brutalist. Not exactly attractive buildings, like Kelly Vincent said. And there's the iconic very front entrance off of Grand Junction Road. So heading into the volunteers building here, and this here had all sorts of odds and ends. Little baby's crib bassinet there. That was really cool. There was like a little Halloween sticker. Lots and lots of books in here as well. Unfortunately all very water damaged. But yeah, heaps of classic kind of books. Very old print books. Bits and pieces on the floor. Yeah, it wasn't exactly fun to walk around some of this stuff because it was very soggy and sloppy. Here's your old library here. This is for the more recent times. Campus building, they called it. And yeah, got a few stickers there on the sign. This one was in a pretty bad condition. Probably one of the worst in terms of water damage since the closure of the facility. A lot of sloppiness and sogginess on the floor. Had to watch every step. Now in here we have, I think there's an arts and crafts section in here, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, sorry, sensory room. So this would have been used for people with autism, severe autism. Yeah, here's your art supply, sorry everyone. So we've got paintbrushes, all sorts, scissors, glues. Here was the last section pretty much that we did for this explore. Piddington Hall. And a lot of the buildings around this one had already been torn down, as you'd be able to see in Heather's video, where there's only slabs left. This seemed to be another mini theatre, this Piddington Hall, in some form. Theatre/cinema style building. Yeah, there's Heather with her light on, and you would have been able to come here, I guess, and watch movies. A lot of the floorboards here were pretty bad, but the roof boards were that beautiful wood panelling again. It's a feature throughout this whole complex that this kind of pine style, finished pine style, was all over the place. And very beautiful, I've got to say. I've always liked wooden interiors in buildings. Yeah, coming towards the end now. So in closing, let's not forget the words of George Santayana from his book, The Life of Reason, who said, "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. All we can do is make steps and progress towards inclusion for people with disabilities. Let's hope another Strathmont Centre is never built again." Thank you everyone who has watched this video.